Since the rumor emerged, one thing has become clear. No one was truly prepared to accept the truth that was finally revealed. What began as mere whispers on social media, twisted video clips, and assumptions based on certain camera angles slowly turned into a grand narrative that many people believed to be fact. But today, everything collapsed. It was all wrong. ARMY was left speechless when they finally appeared, not with anger, not with excessive defense, but with a calm yet firm presence. A presence that seemed to say, "You misunderstood us." Rumors of separate filming had been spreading for some time. Many believed that the distance, different camera angles, and incomplete scenes were evidence of tension, avoidance, or even a deliberately covered-up rift. Every second was analyzed. Every expression was overinterpreted. Even silence was considered an answer. But nothing is more painful than when the truth finally emerges and makes us realize that all those assumptions were built on ignorance. When they finally speak, or rather, show, there are no long speeches. There are no dramatic official clarifications. That is precisely what makes everything feel more real. Their body language, the way they are present, and the small moments captured on camera are the strongest rebuttal to the rumors that have been believed all this time. The fact that some parts were recorded separately turned out to be not because of personal issues, but because of technical reasons, schedules, and production needs. It was very human. It happens often, but it was exaggerated because of their big names and the public's overly high expectations. The most touching thing was their expressions when they realized how far off the rumors were. There were faint smiles that hid their exhaustion. There was a look that seemed to say, "Why does it always have to be like this?" And that's when many fans began to feel guilty for believing too quickly, for accusing too quickly. This moment is not just about refuting rumors. It's about reminding us that behind the camera lights, behind the video edits and sensational headlines, there are real people with relationships that cannot be simplified by a single clip or a single theory. Many armies admitted to crying after realizing the truth. Not because they were sad, but because they were relieved. Relieved that the relationship wasn't what they feared. Relieved that what felt strange all this time was just an illusion created by incomplete pieces. Today has been a bitter but important lesson. That not everything that goes viral is true. That not all distance means separation. And that sometimes the loudest thing isn't the truth, it's assumptions. In the end, they didn't come out to attack the rumors with harsh words. They refuted them in the most powerful way possible, by being themselves. And that was more than enough. The silence after their appearance felt louder than the rumors themselves. Social media, which was usually noisy, suddenly split into two, those who finally understood, and those who still insisted on maintaining the old narrative. But for many armies, that moment became a turning point. There was a sense of shock, a sense of shame, and a sense of relief all mixed together. Until now, rumors of separate filming have been treated as if they were a verdict. Every moment when they were not in the same frame was used as evidence. However, the entertainment world is not that simple. Busy schedules, time differences, and technical requirements often force productions to be filmed separately. But because their names are too big, logic often loses out to emotion. What silenced many people was how they didn't seem awkward when they finally appeared in the same moment. There was no emotional distance, no stiff body language. On the contrary, the little things that had been overlooked reappeared. Familiar glances, unconscious smiles, spontaneous reactions that couldn't be faked. For longtime fans, these small moments feel like home. Something familiar, something that hasn't changed despite the passage of time and public pressure. And that's where the old narrative begins to crumble on its own. Many then realize how dangerous the culture of clip editing can be. 1 second can change perceptions. One camera angle can create a false narrative. And one wrong assumption can hurt more than we realize, both fans and those in the spotlight. Many began to recall old moments when similar rumors surfaced and were eventually proven false. the pattern was always the same. Silence was seen as coldness. Distance was seen as a problem. Professionalism was seen as reluctance. Yet, often silence is a form of protection, and distance is part of the job. What is most touching is the fact that they never really owed anyone an explanation. Yet they still chose to be present. Not to defend themselves with words, but to show that human relationships cannot be measured by internet theories. That day, many armies wrote honest confessions. Some apologized for speculating too much. Some admitted to losing trust. Others finally learned to take a breath before believing the next rumor. This rumor may pass, drowned out by new issues, by other clips, by the next sensation. But its mark will remain. A reminder that love and support should not turn into pressure and demands. Because in the end, what they need is not blind defense, but trust. Trust that not everything needs to be explained. Trust that what is seen on screen is only a small part of reality. And trust that if there is something that needs to be said, they will say it in their own way. And when that day comes, one thing is certain. All the hasty assumptions, all the forced rumors, will once again be proven wrong. Just like this time. But behind the collapse of these rumors, there is one bitter truth that cannot be avoided: how easily trust can be shaken by incomplete stories. Many have just realized how much they have believed in theories rather than the time they have spent together as fans. The rumors grew not because of strong evidence, but because of fear. Fear of loss. Fear of change. Fear that something that had always felt close was not as beautiful as imagined. And that fear was amplified by algorithms, sensational headlines, thumbnails full of exaggerated expressions, and narratives deliberately designed to stir emotions. Ironically, the more they remained silent, the wilder the speculation grew. Yet silence does not mean admission. Silence is often the safest way to survive in the never-ending spotlight. But in a world that demands instant explanations, silence is seen as a mistake. When they finally came out and showed themselves, many realized one important thing: real relationships don't need constant proof. They don't always have to be in the same frame. There is no need to always show closeness in front of the camera. Because what is real does not waver just because of the wrong perspective. Some fans even realized that their previous disappointment was not because of facts, but because of expectations that were too high. Expectations that they must always look the same as before. But humans grow, change, and adapt without losing the meaning of the relationship itself. This moment opened many people's eyes to a boundary that is often forgotten. The boundary between supporting and controlling, between caring and demanding, between loving and feeling entitled to know everything. When that boundary is crossed, support can turn into silent but heavy pressure.